I'm Stephan Kesting. This is Richie. You've trained a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, a lot of grapplers, including up to black belt level, but you've also trained a lot of kickboxing guys. And so what are the mistakes that you see when grapplers decide, you know, I want to get some kickboxing happening?
Yeah. You know, I see that there's a common sort of pattern when grapplers start to become strikers. I see it again and again, and it blows my mind, Stephan, when I get like this super stud purple belt in my jiu-jitsu class, and they're like, hey Richie, I want to start doing some kickboxing, and I'm like, awesome, come on in. And it blows my mind to see someone who is so powerful and so athletic on the mats, and then they start to do striking, and it's just like they're so awkward, and I'm like, how is this even possible? Like, it's weird. But there's
so if you break it down, what are they doing wrong?
Yeah, there's some common problems. So the very first one is the stance. So the stance for headquarters, how you would pass guard, to the stance of how you would shoot in is similar to boxing, but it's different. The very first thing is people are too straight, like straight with their backs, meaning that they're like, yeah, like, okay, I'm now boxing, but you see how my back is just way too straight. And
why is that a problem?
It just opens me up too much, like there's too much targeting, right? Also, from here, do you see how I want to call, if let's say like I'm throwing a jab, I want to make sure there's a conduit of force between my hand and my foot. So you see how upright I am? If you just push on my hand, you see how you just push me right back. What I want to try and do is I want to make this distance as short as possible, meaning that I'm really crouched like this, and now if you push on my hand, Stephan, I am just way stronger, right? So that's what I want to try. I want to shorten this up. So stance meaning that people's backs are just too straight. The next thing is, see how my chin is up, which is fantastic, but yeah, I'm going to eat that uppercut. I want my chin down. If I'm a striker, I want my chin down to go and protect against possible strikes. The next is that as a grappler, we're almost always square, whether I'm passing guard here or I'm about to shoot in. See how my shoulders are square to you. If we were boxing, this is way too dangerous. This is way too dangerous. One, it just opens up my torso. I'm just like this big giant wall, right? For you, you see it's easier for you to kick me. The target's just bigger, right? As well, if we're throwing a jab, do you see how they were there? Thank you. I can't hit you, right? I can't, but you can hit me, right? Just because you have a longer reach, right?
That lead shoulder is further forward.
Right, exactly. Right. Just by me just turning, you see how I can hit you, and my lead shoulder is just so much more forward. So the very first thing is stance. You just gotta, if you're a grappler, learn to slouch. It's okay. Slouch, drop that chin right when you're throwing those punches, right? The next thing is just how people throw their punches. As a grappler, we're always taught to keep those arms short, right?
But nothing good happens when you extend your arm.
No, exactly. A straight arm is a broken arm for the most part. Yeah, you're framing, you're trying to reestablish, you're stopping a takedown. I totally get moments when you would do that. In general, you want those arms short. You want to have alligator arms, right? So how does that translate to boxing? It looks like this, right? Like I'm
a T-Rex flapping his arms.
Yeah, it looks ridiculous. So it's like, okay, I'm boxing. There's no extension, and you want to fully stretch out your strikes. You want to fully stretch out those that straight left, that straight right. So the arms are just too short.
Besides, if you're a grappler and you're learning a bit of kickboxing, you got that inner range covered. Like instead of doing these tight hooks and tight uppercuts, you're probably going to be doing a clinch in a fight or an MMA situation.
For sure. So you already got that range. You already got that range covered,
yeah, it's
right?
That longer range.
Yeah, it's that longer range
that they need to work on.
Right, which is working the jab, fully extending, making sure that your reach is sound. The next thing is that in grappling, we have that long contraction with our muscles because we're holding. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's great terminology. It's called an isometric contraction. And we're holding that long contraction because we're holding somebody down. Now, that doesn't translate to striking, unfortunately. So what happens is that people punch like this, they're really stiff. They're pushing their punches, but they're not fully extending. There's no snap.
How do they develop that? Is it part relaxation and part explosive
Right.
extension.
And you're right. It is part relaxation. So one, actually focus on relaxing. Like totally relaxed. Right? Like you got your arms are noodles. So the first thing, just be aware of it. The second thing is that you want to practice punching like you're doing a hand clapping push-up. The contraction is really brief. The contraction should happen like it should just be enough to be able to go and extend your arm fully. From here, I should feel a stretch, and then naturally, because of the stretch response in my muscles, will retract. It is not this like, see, I'm just really stiff, my muscles are always engaged. Mm-hmm. We want to get that brisk explosiveness through our muscles. And so those are the most common mistakes. Those are the most common pitfalls that I see as grapplers transition into striking.
Well, it's possible because you've seen it done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, but it's a different learning curve from somebody coming in off the street with no sense of combat athletics. They've got different pitfalls to go through as opposed to coming from a grappling background.
Absolutely.
The grapplers are probably tough. The grapplers are probably have some endurance. They probably have some strength.
Right.
They just need to focus on the things that you're talking about now.
Absolutely, for sure.